Well, good morning, YouTubers. Back home in sunny Thailand, reflecting on what was an absolutely amazing holiday in Bali. And what I'm going to do today in this video is give you 5 things that I wish I'd known about before I travelled to Bali. Well, I suppose the most important thing really that I wish I'd known was just how bloody great Bali is. And if I'd have known how good it was, I wouldn't have booked 7 nights. I'd have booked a lot longer. So my advice to people, if you're thinking about going to Bali, you've got to book a minimum of 10 nights. 14 would be perfect, possibly slightly longer. Okay, so number 2, where to stay. If you've watched the series, you will know that we were staying at Nusa Beach, and we love Nusa Beach. But what I'm going to do is cover the 4 main areas that I think most people like to stay, and probably the 4 most popular areas. First area is Kuta. Really didn't enjoy Kuta. I think Kuta is a real young person's party place, and it's just too full on for us. Yeah, I love a drink, I love to party, but it's not really the sort of place that I'd want to visit and spend any amount of time at. But, you know, it's popular with youngsters. There's lots to do. There's lots of great restaurants. Obviously, to the surfing scene, that's perfect. But for us, really, Kuta wasn't a place for us to be. But I think it still has, you know, some good points. And I think if you're a young traveller looking around, Kuta might be a good place for you. Secondly is Ubud. Really enjoyed Ubud. I thought Ubud was beautiful, amazing scenery, you know, just really chilled out and relaxed. And a lot of travellers go there, a lot of families, just generally a really nice place. Quite a bustling town. And of course you've got the rice terraces, you have waterfalls, that type of thing. And just a little bit more of a sort of laid back way of living, really, I would say. Third place is Seminyak. Jury's out for Seminyak for me. Maybe we needed to spend more than a day there, but just sort of looking around, I didn't really love the beaches. I didn't like the town centre, small rickety roads, lots of hawkers, hustle and bustle. But I think it could be a good place to stay at. If you're into your shopping, if you're into sort of leaving your hotel of an evening and then finding a different restaurant, different bars, hanging out with other people, it could be a good place to stay. I think Seminyak, they talk about it being sort of like a really cool part of Bali, and yeah, it was, some great beach clubs. There's also some amazing 5-star hotels there. There's also budget. I think it's really an area for everybody. How can I put it? You know, everybody's budget, you know, from small homestays, guest houses, up to sprawling resorts. And finally, Nusa, where we stayed. We loved Nusa. Nusa is an exclusive area, sort of man-made as such, beautiful beaches, but just a whole stretch of 5-star hotels, sprawling resorts, and just generally really laid back. Some amazing beaches, huge stretch of beach, do whatever you want on the beach. There's jet skiing, you can surf, you can go out wave boarding, all that type of thing, which is really nice. But one word of warning, it is very quiet of a night time. You really only have a choice of hotel restaurants along the beach. You're not going to get your little vendor on the beach selling cheap Indonesian food. So if you're eating out, we loved it. We loved the opportunity of walking along the beach and choosing a different hotel beachfront restaurant. But it is very expensive. You're paying 5-star hotel prices. So you're looking in the region of 1 to 2 million for a good meal with a bottle of wine. Compared to if you was in somewhere like Seminyak, you could be having a meal for 600,000. So yes, a little bit expensive, but for us it was worthwhile. And this really leads me to my final point on accommodation and where to stay, and ties in with the first point about staying longer than sort of 10 nights. I really think a 2-center stop is ideal. And for us, what we will do next time, we will have 7 nights at Nusa Dua, then we'll have 4 or 5 nights in Ubud, in the countryside, and then we'll go back to Nusa Dua to finish our holiday on the beach. Point number 3, the currency. Man, now this is something I wish I had known about. Everything is in hundreds of thousands. The largest note denomination in Indonesian rupiah is 100,000, which is very small money, $7.50. And the maximum that I could get out from the ATM machines was 3 million, which was 30 notes. And quite frankly, I couldn't even close my wallet once I had those 30 notes in there. And that's still only just over $200. And we ended up trying to use credit cards, and I don't like using credit cards when I'm away. I tend to use American Express, and a lot of places wouldn't take it. And also, if you're thinking about doing any types of trips, well, you know, you're 500,000, you're 600,000, then you're 1 million for some trips. So it actually becomes, where am I getting all this money from? So my advice is here, is if you're thinking about doing trips and you want to be out and about and you can't use your credit card, is to take US dollars, because all the tour companies quote their prices in US dollars. So it would be so much easier to have 500, 600, 700, 1,000 US dollars with you to pay for your trips, which will then alleviate this problem of going to the ATM every day to get money out, and also not being able to fit the money into your wallet. So that leads me on to day trips. There is a host of day trips that you can do in Bali, from touring the countryside to taking trips to beautiful islands. And it's really, really slick the way that they put these trips together. What we did when we arrived at the airport was basically just pick up the tour guide leaflets, etc. And I was really impressed of how easy it was to book those trips. Don't book them through your hotel. It'll be twice the cost of going directly to these companies. But the good thing is they all quote their telephone numbers and say that you can contact them by WhatsApp. And what I did was basically chose a tour that we wanted to do, sent a WhatsApp, and within a minute it was confirmed, the price, what time they would pick us up. And then the very next day we had a driver, just us as a family, which was really, really great, small little van, who then took us around on the trips. Now on these trips, as they always do around the world, they'll always have little filler things that go into the trips. You know, we stopped off at some coffee plantation. It was boring as hell. The coffee wasn't that great, and it actually was a waste of time. So what we did on the choice for the second time we were going to go out, we wanted to tour the temples. I actually took the driver's direct telephone number and asked if I could book him directly. And what I did was just book him and the car and the fuel, etc. And we ended up paying $50 for all day. Picked us up at 9 o'clock, took us wherever we wanted to go. And I WhatsApped him, I spoke with him, would it be okay if we did this, this and this, and would that be doable? And he come back and confirmed, yes, it would be doable. $50, picked us up at 9 a.m, brought us back by 6 p.m. We stopped off at our own choices of restaurants, and that's another thing. When you see the tours, what they'll do is they'll tell you, oh, lunch is included. Well, lunch is normally rubbish, to be perfectly honest with you. By having just the driver yourself, you can sort of say to the driver, look, I want to stop at that restaurant, looks amazing. If you see one of the videos, we was in a beautiful restaurant overlooking the mountains. We was actually in the mountains, and it was so cheap. We bought the driver lunch, naturally, which was kind of a cool thing to do. And the food was very, very good, very, very cheap. And we chose what we wanted to choose. So that's a top tip from me, really, is book a driver and just book him and do your own research of where you want to go, and he will confirm whether you can fit it all in one day. Because another annoying thing about Bali, I say another annoying thing, there isn't that many annoying things, but annoying thing about Bali is the traffic's very, very bad. And wherever you go, everyone will say, oh, it's an hour, it's an hour and a half, it's 2 hours. And it's not really that far, but it's very small roads, and therefore everything takes a long time. So my top tip really for these things that I wish I'd known was definitely do your research and try and book your own driver. And in the description here, I will give you a telephone number. Contact him by WhatsApp. His name's Nyaman Renda. He was a great guy, very knowledgeable of the area, and it'll be far more cost effective for you to do it by just booking your own itinerary and just having the car for the day. Okay, just a couple of other things that might be worth pointing out. Airport security is quite high in Bali. On arrival, it took us an hour and a half to get through customs. Whatever you do, please make sure that you ask for a customs declaration form on the aeroplane, fill it out, and make sure that you have that done, because we wasn't given one on the aeroplane. We got through passport control, then we had to wait a lot of time to get through customs clearance, which was rather frustrating. And if we'd have had the form on the aeroplane, it would have made things far much more easier for us. I'll just touch on food and drink. I didn't really enjoy Indonesian food, I have to be honest with you. We loved the freshness of all the food in Bali. Most restaurants that we ate in were very, very good. But Indonesian food, jury's out for me on that. Maybe it's because we live in Thailand and we have so much wonderful food here and great quality and great flavours and great spice. But Indonesian food didn't particularly enjoy. However, as I say, most of the restaurants we went to, fresh produce, well cooked, good quality. However, wine. Be very, very careful. Wine's expensive in Thailand, and it is in Indonesia also. Very, very expensive. Don't make the mistake that I did, where I was desperate for a glass of Sauvignon Blanc when I got into a restaurant, ordered by the glass, didn't really give any thought to it, and it turned out that it was $22 a glass. So not ideal when you've had 4 or 5 glasses. So definitely check out the wine list before you order wine. Beer's very cheap. I love a bintang, really enjoyed the bintangs, as you probably noticed from watching some of the other videos, but be a little bit careful on the wine. So as a summary, definitely stay in Bali if you can for more than 10 days. Definitely take US dollars with you, it will help you with the trips. Maybe 2 center holiday would be great. Ubud, Nusa, Kuta if you want to go crazy for a few days, few nights, and then relax in Ubud. So your combination of beach and countryside would be really, really great, and definitely the tour guide. So yeah, Bali, really, really great place. Thoroughly enjoyed it. We're already planning on going back. And I've got one final thing I should say as well, going back to security at the airport. When you leave, your cases are screened when you first enter the airport. Then before you go through to check your bags with your airline, there's guys there with bomb detectors and other such, baggage checking equipment. And then once you finally check your bags, then you go through another screening before you do passport control. So whatever you do, don't put anything stupid in your bags, follow the rules, because we see 3 or 4 people whose cases were taken away once the bomb detector had scanned the cases. So that's it. They're my tips. There's more than 5 I've given you, so some value to this video, I'd like to think. But if you are thinking about going to Bali, have a great time. I'm sure you will. And if there's any questions you'd like me to answer, we wasn't there long, so we're not the #1 authority on Bali. But if you've got any questions about Bali, put them in the comments and I'll do my very best to answer them for you.